AUT, she's a CDC researcher. You know her, you love her. The one and only Sarah Hanley.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so pleased to see all of your faces out here on a Tuesday morning. The rain let up, so we all got here dry and safe and well, which is wonderful. I'm so thrilled and pleased to welcome you to the MTL Launch 2026-2027. Today you're going to get a glimpse of the upcoming season for English theater here in Montreal. We're talking about rich, vivid productions in the works from 6 independent theater companies. A season that will include stories about stuffed lemurs and graffiti artists, deaf culture, and feminist audio erotica, tyrant kings, and lost daughters. My name is Sarah Day, and I know you all from my work in the media and also just being in the audience for theater over the last several years. I had over a decade, I realize it's probably longer than that. Anyways, we are hosted today by the Conseil de Montreal. And I do just want to acknowledge that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Gami people. This was also a diplomatic meeting place with other Iroquois and Algonquin groups through the years, including the Algonquin Anishinaabe, the Atikamekw, and the Huron-Wendat, the site of human creativity and storytelling for thousands of years. We're so thankful that we're able to create, collaborate, play, and work here in Tiohtià:ke and Nunavut, this island, also known as Montreal. So, in a world that feels ever more divided and under threat, we turn to storytelling to connect, learn, and grow. And the theater is a unique place to experience stories. Meanwhile, of course, the advance of technology threatens to forever alter how we create and experience art, depending on how you see it, for the better, for the worse, chaotic, neutral. And that puts the onus on artists to be even more truthful, courageous, and innovative. It's against this very dramatic backdrop that 6 of our Montreal English language companies have been working to prepare for the upcoming season. So what you can expect over the next hour, each of the companies will peel back the curtain on their work, and I will take some time to query our speakers. You will hear from Repercussion Theater, Infinite Theater, Talisman Theater, Indigo Theater, Jory Theater, and Black Theater Workshop. We will also hear from the Quebec Drama Federation. We'll bring Holly back up here, and we intend to conclude by noon. And you're invited to mingle, to continue to nosh, and get excited for what's ahead. We've already had a taste of some summer weather over the past couple of weeks. The rain kind of threw me this morning, but it's sun shining out. I was schwitzing on the bus. So how appropriate it is to look forward to a company that for many Montrealers is on their summer to-do list, Repercussion Theater. Now, last year's Shakespeare in the Park tour took a slightly different turn and a glorious spin on Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest. But this year, Repercussion returns to the bar this summer with another fresh spin on the original material. Repercussion presents works of classical roots and visual flair while remaining accessible to all. So here to kick us off is Catherine Savoie, Artistic and Managing Director of Repercussion Theater.
Here's a little peek at the team involved, and we are excited to reveal more, so stay tuned. Our playwriting program, Words with Will, is back for a third edition. Applications are currently open until May 22nd. Do you have something to say to or about Shakespeare? We want to hear from you. This project is created in partnership with the amazing Playwrights Workshop Montreal. And finally, we have our Cercle de Culture Table Collective. This Franglais initiative is for playwrights who work en français, in English, ou les deux. So come join the community à la table. So as always, see you in the park.
Catherine, thank you so much. So exciting. I want to start with your Shakespeare in the Park tour, The Winter's Tale. You're working with the Uncanon Collective. Yeah, it's a relatively new group. Tell me about that and what you're bringing with Winter's Tale.
Well, they were interested in working with repercussion, and also Lizzie and Essen have been wanting to work together for a long time. So we had a chat, and we liked the vibes. We talked for a long time about which play we should do, and we ended up settling on The Winter's Tale because of its very strong female protagonist, and also what it has to say about hope and building community. Come see it.
Can you tell me briefly also about the casting choices you made?
Yes, well, Lizzie's take was an Afro-futurist take on the Winter's Tale, which is why we were aiming to have an Afro-descending cast, and most of whom are in this room today, so... And yeah, we are feeling very lucky to have so much local talent in this wonderful production.
Excellent. Swashbuckling, your production moving to Centaur, that's going to touch on masculinity. What are we looking at here?
We wanted to touch on masculinity, but also just our love-hate relationship with swashbuckling. Some of my favorite stories were like the Count of Monte Cristo and Three Musketeers and Shakespeare, which has a lot of duels and wars. And like, very exciting to see the duels in The Princess Bride, but also like, you don't get that great commander without war. And I think a war fundamentally is stupid. So we want to explore like, the messages that we inherit by keeping those stories alive that sort of make violence acceptable, like it's for honor or sacrifice.
I love it. So many neat topics you're going to be tackling this year. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you.
I'm also a really big fan of Master and Commander. There's just something about men on the go doing things. It cannot just be me, right? Happens at Web Percussion Theater. Our next company has had a whale of a season, thanks to a beautifully enchanting docu-theater piece inspired by a visit with one singular whale to the Old Port a few years ago. Infinivator's Whalefall explored not just the undersea world, but also relationships and communication, a theme the team will explore further this season. The company's mission is to present plays written or adapted by artists in Quebec. Zach Fraser is the artistic director at Infinivator. Come on up.
Hello everyone, nice to see you all here today. I just thought I'd start with speaking about some of the things that happen apart from a main stage production that we do. Start with some other stuff. So first up this summer, to remind folks that we have 2 playwriting competitions that are ongoing. And the first one is a team playwriting competition, which we're still accepting up until June 30th. And Right on Cue, which is our annual competition with deadline September 8th. So writers, we'd love to be hearing from you. It's a great chance for us to see. It's a really great way for us to discover what's going on and what's in your heads and in your artistic minds. We also have sort of, it doesn't quite fit into a box of the year, but we have an ongoing system of artists in residence. So we currently have Corbin Naval, Juan Han, Derby Beer Collective, and Kim Dominic Ferguson, who are all, they all come. Some of them are here today. One of them is running the slideshow. And Kim's over there. They all have projects that they're working on specifically mostly what we're giving them is just space and help when needed, when asked. We also have in the background Whale Fall, which is a piece that we did in just this past winter. We're working on a French language translation of that with Maryse Warden doing the translation. We just want the piece to reach into different parts of Quebec and to continue to have life. So that's sometimes we translate works from French to English, and sometimes we're trying to translate works from English to French as well. And then our first actual public event is September 26th, Park and Play, which is where we have, it's really lovely, it's in a park not far from here. It's the beginning of the school year, and it's just a chance to hear the finalists from the youth, from the team playwriting competition. So the short works an afternoon in the park during the Journée d'été show. And then we also have a pipeline and a book launch. This will be the second, well, sort of third time we do pipeline and book launch combined with our finalists doing right on cue. I'm sorry for going fast. Thank you. I'll even told me slow down. So apart from the pieces that will be read there, the finalists from right on cue, we also will be launching the publication of Whale Fall. That was appropriated by Ash Ryan Wilson, Ashling Ryan Wilson himself over here. And we'll also be publishing Omibuna, a fantastical encounter with my great-grandmother, which is a piece it was the first piece we did post-pandemic. A one-man show, really beautiful show by Wilson Algarbi, translated by Leanna Brody. We're trying to publish pieces that we think have a reach for young emerging artists. We want to extend the lives in any way we can. We're trying to find ways in this community. Often things, our shows have a really short lifespan, and we're trying to find different ways to give them wings. But then for our final event of the season, we wanted to speak about that with some other folks. So back to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Zach. I don't think I'm the only one who cried at Whale Fall, so I'm really glad that now I can cry in French as well. And not just because I had a baby 3 months ago and was watching this beautiful whale show about mothers and babies. I was just losing my mind. So I'm excited that more people are going to get a chance to see it. So we will keep Zach up here because we're presenting our next company. Thank you so much for telling us about Infinite Theater. We will next be introducing a company that marked its 20th anniversary this past autumn. That's 2 decades of producing award-winning English language premieres of contemporary Quebec plays, using translation and theater to inform and bridge culture. Lynn Paquette is co-founder, artistic, and executive director of Talisman Theater. So I'm going to have both of you come up now to talk about your big project underway.
I promise she's going to speak. So this is the first time in the theater, Talisman Theater co-produced a show together, which is Noli, which is an English language premiere, written by Virginie Deck, in a translation by Alexis Diamond. And Alexis is here. It's a piece, so it's going to be presented at Théâtre La Chapelle in February. It's basically, there's a young woman who works at a daycare and she's navigating the dynamics between all the preschoolers, and at the same time she's having to navigate her own life, her personal life, with her romantic life and her professional life. And along the way, as you sort of mentioned there, she comes across a feminist audio erotic app, which sort of leads her into a world of helping her navigate self-love, sex positivity, how to navigate boundaries, how to communicate, and how to own your space and your sensuality in it from a personal perspective. have two kids who they've got so many examples out there of bad examples of sensuality and sexuality and what is adult love and romantic love. And this piece does a really beautiful job of weaving through those delicate questions.
We both saw the play at Prospero, the intimate space, and we both fell in love with it, but Zach got there first. So I was very sad, but then we decided in the times and the difficulty getting funding, we would work on it together. And I think we worked together. We worked together in different capacities, so I think it's a safe endeavor. It's always difficult to share our toys. I think we're going, yeah, I think it's going to be good. You should all come and see it, that's for sure. It's going to be titillating and exciting.
Lynn, congratulations, first of all, 20 years that you just marked. There's a lot in Noli, and I'm wondering what themes spoke to you personally that made you really want to see it on stage in English.
Well, we just closed the play now, and I thought it was fantastic, but not so Quebecois, and somehow in a twisted, weird way that Quebecois can tell a story, and they can pick the scab, and they're not afraid of watching it move, and taboos, and so I think Noli has this idea of taboos, and yeah, it's got this Quebecicity, I don't know if that's a word, but
It is now.
well worth, and in English it's also a very touchy thing to translate into a new culture, and sexual stuff is raw in English, and in French can be more poetic, so we're surprised right now working on the translation and trying to tone down the naughtiness. Or
So glad you're here with us, Alexis, to clarify that's important. I do want to add too, the main character is a daycare worker. So there's also, it's not completely naughty. There is this also theme of communicating with little ones and older ones and interpersonal relationships.
there's a lot of playfulness, there's a lot of humor.
Zach, I wanted to ask you, production-wise, anything you have planned for this? You know, the character falls in love with an audio app, so that we're watching this on stage. How is that going to work?
Well, it's not quite a remount that we're doing, but it's very much embracing the idea. We both love the staging. The staging was really an important part of making the first version. And so discussing that with them, that's really something that we're trying to hold on to and preserve. There's a really delicate balance of, there's an innocence to the piece, and yet it's a roller coaster at the same time. And there's a real sense of play. It really feels like it kind of holds your hand as you go on a roller coaster ride through the piece. And I think just in terms of the style of storytelling is not like a lot of stuff that I've seen out there. So for me, one of my gut feelings for them as well is when I saw it, it was just like, I love this, but I know that a lot of the English community is not going to see this Prospero production, and I would love for them to get to see this production because it's really, apart from the themes, it's also the style of theatrical play that's fun to share.
Excellent. This is going to be a fun one to look forward to. Thank you both so much. That was Zach at Infinite Theater and then Paquette at Talisman Theater. Noli, put that in your calendar for the new year, which is so far away, but it's going to come so fast, everybody. On to our next company. Established in 1987, Imago Theater wants to prompt audiences to think critically and embrace diverse stories. As a feminist theater company, Imago has embraced gender-inclusive storytelling and works to mentor young artists. This season, Imago invites you to explore what it's like to live in two different worlds through the eyes of two unique heroines. Krista Jackson is artistic director at Imago Theater. She is in Stratford today, directing the important was being earnest, and we wish her so much wonderfulness. But she has sent us a message which we will now read together.
Hi everybody. I wish I could be there today to celebrate with you all the incredible work that will be coming to Montreal English Theatres next season. And it's my pleasure to introduce Immigrant Theatre Season 2. In the fall, we begin with The Sound of Dogs by Jennifer Roberts. And a co-production with The Sound of Dogs Collective. It's part of Central Theatre's Brave New Looks selection for 26-27, and it will run October 1st to 10th at the Central Theatre. What's it like to have deaf parents? A ride investigation. Coda is a hearing child of deaf parents. She has always seen her life as normal, despite being told otherwise, again and again and again. In an attempt to explain her life to curious outsiders, Coda invites us into her world as she traces the not-so-distant histories that have shaped her family and community. Through deaf cultural storytelling and humor, she shares personal stories and pushes back against the assumptions made about her parents. Blending American Sign Language, spoken English, and movement within a vivid digital landscape, The Sound of Dogs builds a layered world of expression and connection. Both intimate and expansive, it celebrates the beauty and complexity of deaf culture, with a touch of mischief. The Sound of Dogs was developed in collaboration with Playwrights Workshop Montreal. In 2027, we present Akiteo, Suspended, written and directed by Soleil Launier, translated by Mishka Marine. This is an English language premiere and a co-production with Production Hour, in collaboration with La Chapelle Scène Contemporaine. It will play January 22nd to February 6th, 2027 at La Chapelle. Visceral and poetically raw, Akiteo takes us on an intimate journey through fragments of personal narratives. A young Indian woman shares her perspectives on blending in to a predominantly white society and questions the contradictions that forge her identity, her legitimacy to speak on behalf of her people, and the delicate responsibilities that entail. Akiteo evokes the emptiness and vertigo of being constantly suspended between two worlds. This translation of Akiteo was supported by the Cole Foundation's Intercultural Conversation Program and developed in collaboration with Playwrights Workshop Montreal. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing all the wonderful work happening next season in Montreal's English theatre community.
Thank you so much, Krista. I have to say, I'm so glad that she's not here, but she's still rocking the earrings. I think we can all agree Krista has the best earrings, like really aspire in the whole theater community, and she didn't disappoint. She even matched like the words at the bottom of the screen. I believe Jennifer, who wrote Coda, is here today. Is there anybody else? Anyone else from Indigo here today? They're all over there. So while I can't put any questions to Krista, if you want, you can make your way over and query them if you like once we wrap up. Okay. On to our next company. They are hot off their season closer, the hilariously enchanting Snow White, which delighted adults like myself, as well as its target audience, plenty of kids, since 1980.
Sorry, I really do. I apologize.
I apologize for interrupting. Hi, everybody. My name is Dominique, and I just joined the Indigo team as an intern for the summer. I just wanted to say something about Sound of Dogs and featuring deaf talent on stage and having them not only on stage but also as part of the theater, as part of the production. So to have that union is really something that I can't let go by without noticing. And I hope it's not a one-time event. I hope that everyone is inspired by the moment, but also is inspired to carry that moment into future moments, and so it becomes no longer moments, but just regular part of life.
Thank you so much. Thank you to Jordan, who is doing a wonderful job interpreting season, and for the very first time, they are traveling even further across this vast country. Here to tell you more is Jimmy Blay, Jordy's artist.
Thank you. Here is Jordy's 26-27 season. Stories that move, not stories that stay still. Stories that get in. Stories that stay with you longer than you expect. That's what we're building for Jordy Theater's 46th season. We begin with our two-play tour. 2 shows, each one meeting young people exactly where they are. For elementary schools, we have Milkham's Knickknacks, written and directed by Barry Berlinski, developed as a part of the TWA writing class at the National Theatre School of Canada. Abby is helping go through her late grandmother's things, a whole life in boxes. And then she picks something up, and it comes to life. Every object unlocks a full memory. Big, messy, funny, overwhelming moments that pull her right back to the stories that those objects told. And and what she's really figuring out is how to hold on to someone without holding on to everything. Here are the artists that will be bringing this world to life. Set in costumes by Deanna Garube, sound designer Heather Ellen Strain, video designed by Potato Cakes Digital, and puppets by Sabrina Miller, who's here. Hooligan Theory by Sarah Danielle Pittman, directed by Dean Fleming for high schools and CEGEPs, was also developed as part of TS's TYK writing class. Madison and Riley collide. They don't fit. They don't fully understand each other, but they move forward anyway. The choices start small, and then they don't. This is a story about decisions, about privilege, about how the same action can land very differently depending on who you are. And the moment where you realize you can't take it back. And this is the team of artists diving straight into that world. We have set costumes by Deanna Garube, sound design by Heather Ellen Strain, video design by Potato Cakes Digital. And this season also marks something new. Jordy After Dark. It's a shift in how we create and share theater for teens. Not just during the day, not just on a school trip, but in a space that meets them where they are. Horseplay by Cole Durnford. The MTL Launch will be directed by Micheline Chevalier, March 2027 at the Siegel Center Studio. At the center of the story is a horse named Horse E. And his jockey named Jacques E. What begins as a fun relationship built on routine slowly reveals something else underneath. It's fun. It's really, really fun. This is a story about love, about looking for it somewhere big, somewhere obvious, and missing the fact that it's been there right beside you the whole time. Here are the artists that are building that story today. And alongside all of this, in January, the Playground Festival returns to Maison Théâtre, creating space for our public audience to take on our 2 awesome touring shows. Doesn't. And for the first time in Jordy's history, a main stage production will tour nationally to Montreal. Our award-winning Jordan will travel across the country, bringing Yvette Nolan's beautiful play to Winnipeg, Toronto, Vancouver, and Ottawa. With some new and some returning Manitoba actor Brandon Poole will take on the role of Jordan, and Ganawage out Wasn't Bill And at the center of everything we do, Jordy Theatre School. Public classes, after-school programs, and workshops that give young people the tools, the confidence, and the space to tell their own stories. Thank you very much.
Jimmy, what an exciting season ahead. Jordan was such a tour de force. That was a story that was not just about the plight of Indigenous children who are sick, but it was also about legislation. And it was a story that, there's so much there. You tore my heart into when I saw it. Just have to say that. Now that you're taking it on tour, I just want to know about how you got the idea or what led you to want to do this. I know that, I remember you telling me when the show came out last year, you said I'd like to take this further. So how did you get to this point?
Well, it was always meant to tour. We built it in a way so that it would be set up to tour because this isn't just an Indigenous story, this is a Canadian story. And it's an important story for all Canadians to know. And so the goal was to tour it from the get. Catherine can attest to this. Even before we put it up, we were garnering interest from other theater companies across the country. And we didn't have to do much. People picked us. And I think, yeah. And I think that just speaks to the importance of the story we're sharing.
Wonderful news. So start telling people in Winnipeg, and where else are you going to be?
We're going to NCYP in Winnipeg,
Yeah.
YPT in Toronto, Carousel Theatre in Vancouver, and then we're going to NAC Indigenous in Ottawa.
Amazing. Let people know. Jordy After Dark. I guess we're all going to be there. Cool teams. Where did that idea come from?
Well, I think TYA sometimes comes with some baggage, a little bit of stigma, unwarranted stigma. It's often labeled as theater for kids and only kids, and our target audience has always been 6 to 17. A show for a 6-year-old is quite different than a show for a 17-year-old. And when you think about how a teenager watches a play, that's also loaded with some things. Oftentimes it comes with their teachers telling them to do so. Yeah. And so, it's time that we treat them as humans, as people. And so the idea came from that, is that we want to invite these teenagers to our theater in a different way. We also want to be able to produce theater for young people in a different way. Teenagers are young people. So that's what that idea came from.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank
Jimmy Glenn, Tracy. Just a reminder, we were all teenagers once, so even though they're kind of scary, we were just once. Our final company this morning has the distinction of being our country's longest-running company dedicated to the diverse stories of Black Canadians. Black Theatre Workshop was recognized last month for its long legacy, receiving the Guampi Dynasty Award, which recognizes the work of Black leaders and organizations in Quebec and beyond. Their upcoming season promises to dig into the expectations of being Black and how that can impact storytelling and self. Diana Marie Bridge is Artistic Director at Black Theatre Workshop. Welcome.
Black Theatre Workshop's 2026-2027 season is our 56th season, and it comes together under the theme of tete-a-tete, as an invitation to crucial conversations about the realities and aspirational ideas of Black identity. Tete-a-tete, the theme tete-a-tete embodies the idea of conversation and exchange, and holds space to deconstruct ideas of Black identity as foundational pillars of our core programming and the stories we share. We build the world we want to live in through constant exchange of ideas and dreams and the dedication to creation. For our TYA program this year, we are doing a remount of Taking Care of Mama. BTW's touring TYA shows is often a first experience of professional theatre for many young Montrealers. We are thrilled to continue this decades-long tradition with a remount of our highly successful production of Taking Care of Mama, which has been translated into French, so titled Prendre soin de Maman by Jenny Laguerre, and is directed by Lady Dubuisson, who's also in the experiencing the COVID lockdowns with her mother who's going through depression. And it's an intergenerational relationship between her and her neighbor, Madame Jean, who's an elderly lady, that actually saves her sanity and actually provides community for her. This TYA tour will be offered in both official languages in repetition, and will tour throughout Ontario with our partners, Rosalie Theatre, throughout October. Then we'll head to Saskatoon with Persephone Theatre in November and December. And then we'll return to Montreal to tour Montreal and Quebec, and we will also be touring schools and seniors' homes. Taking Care of Mama was nominated for 3 of Toronto's Dora Awards for Outstanding New Play by Jenny Laguerre, and 2 nominations for Outstanding Performance by an Individual for both Sarah Lindsay and Alexandra Lefebvre, who was actually the winner for that category. It was also nominated for a 2025 Mega Award and for Outstanding Sound Design by Helena Stupy. And expand. So in 2026, we will mark the 14th year of BTW's AMP program, our Artist Mentorship Program. AMP remains a nationwide initiative for Black, Indigenous, and POC theater makers with a focus on increasing the production knowledge of its artists, enabling them to steer their careers and continue learning. In the coming season, we are committed to forming a cohort that is at least 50% Francophone. And with the aim of offering the program in both English and French for Black-speaking Francophone artists. In a city where the majority of Black people are Francophone, I think this is a mandate that we have to embrace, and I'm really excited to be able to offer this to more and wider group of artists. Over 6 months, from September through March, artists will level up their theater practice and production knowledge while building meaningful connections and gaining real-world tools to thrive in the industry. From hands-on, accountable, actionable workshops to intimate one-on-one relationships, mentorships, and peer-to-peer relationships, AMP is a unique space where ideas spark creation, grow ideas, grow careers, and lifelong artistic friendships and networks are forged. Quote me. In the coming season, we are reflecting on the connection and impact of history, identity, and social expectations on Black bodies and stories. How Black people show up in spaces and in our action is invariably a reflection of how we learn to navigate the world, interpersonal relationships, and expectations. Please keep an eye out for more announcements later this year, including readings, workshops, auditions, play announcements, and also the call for the 2026-27 cohort for AMP, and additional programming announcements. Thank you very much.
Taking Care of Mama, this crown in BTW's a jewel in the crown, I think. I was wondering if that was a new decision to have it toward the seniors' homes.
We got a lot of response from seniors and folks in the community when we did a public presentation. And yes, I think it's something that is really innovative for us. I just love the idea of this intergenerational connection and honoring our elders as well as part of the community.
That's wonderful. I want to also ask about AMP. Opening up is in such a great place for so many young people to hone their theater skills, their artistic skills. Where did that idea come from
actually was an idea that was in the books for BTW before I joined, and it's just a thing that we're trying to actually activate now, with over 80% of Black folks in Montreal being Francophone, and there being fewer opportunities on the Francophone side. We really want to delve into how we can extend that program so that they can get access as well, and also find those little French pockets throughout the country. I know there's a French-speaking community in the East Coast, in Winnipeg, and throughout the country as well.
It's a really good point that you brought up, that not all of our communities in Montreal cut so neatly across linguistic lines.
Yeah.
Are you hoping this is also going to expand BTW's footprint within Montreal?
Yes, that's actually an absolute goal for us as well.
I do want to ask one more question. If we can go back to taking care of Maman. How do you think it speaks to young folks? We are talking about the challenge of theater for young people, but you've been with this piece for a while, and so how do you grab kids' attention?
I think children are much more sophisticated than we give them credit for. In terms of the kinds of storytelling that we do, as Jimmy spoke about earlier, we tend to kind of mute the actual real emotion and the real struggle that people are going through. And we all went through that pandemic, and we're still talking about the ramifications and the impact that it had on us. And so imagine being someone who's actually just going through physical and emotional change through their body, through their communities, switching schools, growing into teenagehood, and going through that at a time where you're distanced from the entire world. There's a really big impact on development, and we've seen it even with folks who went through school online. And so that's the conversation we want to start, giving people a place to actually have that conversation.
A play with a lot to say, and more people who are going to receive that message. Diane, are you free? Our final presentation this morning will be from the Quebec Drama Federation. Their mighty team works to highlight and elevate the work of its member community, represents the interests of the theater world, as well as present opportunities to network, learn, and flourish. Here to present on the QDF's behalf, we welcome Director of Programming, Holly Greco.
It's obviously such an exciting array of productions we have coming next year. It's so meaningful to the QDF to be able to help produce this event. So your presence is really meaningful to all of us. Before I dive into what QDF has going on, I wanted to note that T-Street Junior Theatre and Centaur Theatre both have announced their seasons as well for that coming year. So do take a moment to check out what they have coming. And although they aren't one of the presenting companies, they have been all over this launch. I just want to give a special shout out to Playwrights Workshop Montreal. Season and beyond. So, that being said, back to us. So, I wanted to just draw your attention to two things we have at QDF that are really meaningful for artists and patrons alike. We have our digital calendar that features what's going on in Quebec English theater all year round. So everything that you heard today will eventually be up on our digital calendar as well. I like to think it's quite user-friendly, and I wanted to also let you all know that we are once again partnering with Montreal Fringe Festival to bring a co-digital calendar for their festival coming this summer. You can check out the digital calendar, see there's never a dull moment here in the English theater, and we have, I think, some QR codes that are going to bring you to the QDF website of everything that was announced here today. And while you're there, why not check out the digital calendar again? The other thing I wanted to speak really quickly about is the Overture. So this is an initiative that is just wrapping its third year at QDF, where we are happy to bring from October to June a publication through our website that features 2 productions happening that month. So we have the Overture, which is a main article that really dives into the process and the production of something that's upcoming, as well as Stage Left, which is a question and answer kind of bite-sized look at So once again, these pair really well together, the digital calendar, as well as the overture to see what is coming up, what to get excited about, and what to get your tickets to. Other than that, I wanted to thank Jordan and Sarah for being remarkable hosts with us today. And I'll see you at the theater.
The QDF calendar is always open on my browser. I can figure it out. And too. Well, the 2026-2027 season is launched. That's wonderful. This does wrap up our event for today, but please feel free to mingle, exchange, ask each other about your upcoming work. I think there's still some bagels and some coffee left, so do grab some. I'd also like to thank our presenters today for giving us a glimpse into what's ahead. Diane, Jimmy, Zach, Lynn, Krista, and Catherine. And I'd also like to extend thanks to the team that put together today's event. Ricardo, who was on sound, and also Jordan for wonderful interpretation. The Conseil des Arts de Montréal also hosted us, so thank you so much. As well as a gracious merci to the Conseil des Lettres du Québec, the Canada Council for the Arts Department of Canadian Heritage, and the Cole Foundation for continued support. And thank you all so much for being here. We're going to see you at the theater in 2026.